Good morning, dear hearts. We're on lesson 183. Please subscribe. I call upon God's name and on my own. This lesson is in many ways repeating, reminding us that I am as God created me, as the Course has told us, and I've said many times. We were told that one lesson would be repeated, but it sometimes is repeated and given to us with different words and in a different way. This lesson is also telling us that indeed I am as God created me, because I call upon God's name and on my own. God's name is holy, but no holier than yours. To call upon his name is but to call upon your own. A father gives his son, his child, his name, and thus identifies the child with him. His brothers share his name, and thus they are united in a bond to which they turn for their identity. Your father's name reminds you who you are, even within a world that does not know, even though you have not remembered it. Even though I may have forgotten my identity, my Father has not forgotten me. I guess you could go to the prodigal son who wanders off, but the father is so happy to see the child when the child comes back. So I have not remembered who I really am, but my Father has never forgotten who I am. The Father has never forgotten the joy of the child. God's name cannot be heard without response, nor said without an echo in the mind that calls you to remember. Say his name and you invite the angels to surround the ground on which you stand and sing to you as they spread out their wings. Listen to this. Visualize this. The angels spread out their wings to keep you safe and shelter you from every worldly thought that would intrude upon your holiness. The angels are here to protect us from our own self, and that's with a little s. We have a repetitive phrase. It's not always exactly the same, but it is. Repeat God's name. It also repeat the name of God. Repeat God's name. Repeat the name of God. It's woven through this lesson in beautiful ways, and it is for us to remember that this is all we need. Remember, we had a lesson not too very long ago, lesson 169, by grace I live, by grace I am released, and it told us that we say God is, and then we cease to speak. So we call upon God's name, and then we go into silence. Now, we were in our introduction, and I think it will be weaving back to the introduction to these lessons frequently. Because again, it was said, so we start our journey beyond words by concentrating first on what impedes our progress still. Our journey beyond words. So many times in this lesson, a couple of times for sure, it's telling us, go into silence. Go into silence. Go into silence with your brother, but go into silence. It is in the silence that we are remembering, and it is in the repeating of our Father's name consistently throughout the day. That's all it's telling us to do. Practice but this today and repeat God's name slowly, again and still again. Become oblivious to every name but his. Hear nothing else. I'm going to go back, though, to paragraph 3. Repeat God's name and all the world responds by laying down illusions. Every dream the world holds dear has suddenly gone by, and where it seemed to stand, you find a star, a miracle of grace. The sick arise healed, and they're healed of their sickly thoughts. The blind can see, the deaf can hear, the sorrowful cast off their mourning, and the tears of pain are dried as happy laughter comes to bless the world. Call upon God's name, and this is the result of it, because this is the only name we need. Here is another one, which, as I say, the most significant, or only number we really need to know throughout this course, that there is one mind, there is one life, there is one love, there is one problem and one solution. And now we know there is one name, only one name that we need to understand and call upon. Repeat the name of God, and little names have lost their meaning. No temptation becomes a nameless, unwanted thing before God's name. all of the illusions, all of the things that we think we have made, all of the things that we believe have value for us, they fall away. They have lost the name of God that you gave them. We have taken, we go back to the very beginning about, that I have given everything all the meaning it has for me. Because what I do when I look at things and I name them, I'm taking them out of the allness that they are part of, and I'm separating them. So now as I repeat only God's name, and everything that I thought was separate, I now see is part of God. God is in everything I see because God is in my mind. All things I now rename as God, 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 and especially my brothers that I have separated out and given them a name, and then they have accepted that. I have twice separated them because I've separated them in my mind. I've given them a name, and now they have accepted it. They are twice removed from the truth of who they are. Today, all of that is nullified because today I know that all of them, including myself, are God. I call upon God's name and on my own. Repeat the name of God and call upon yourself, your true self, whose name is His. Repeat His name and all the tiny nameless things of God. Sorry, I skipped. I'm so excited. The nameless things on earth slip into right perspective. Those who call upon the name of God cannot mistake the nameless for the name, nor sin for grace, nor bodies for the Holy Son of God. And should you join a brother as you sit with him in silence and repeat God's name along with him within your quiet mind, you have established there an altar which reaches to God Himself and to His Son. I will be still a moment and go home with my brother. God's name becomes our only thought, our only word, the only thing that occupies our minds, the only wish we have, the only sound with any meaning, and the only name of everything that we desire to see, of everything that we would call our own. Repeat God's name and you acknowledge Him as sole creator of reality, and you acknowledge also that His Son, His child, is part of Him creating in His name. Sit silently again, go beyond words, the journey beyond our words, and let His name become the all-encompassing idea that holds your mind completely. Let all thoughts be still except this one. Again, I'll be still a moment and go home. Today we achieve a state in which you will experience the gift of grace. Turn to the name of God for your release, and it is given you. No prayer, but this is necessary, for it holds them all within it. Words are insignificant. Again, going back to the introduction to these lessons. This is, our journey beyond words. We are going beyond words. No prayers, but this is necessary. Words are insignificant. All requests unheeded when God's Son calls on His Father's name. His Father's thoughts become His own. He makes His claim to all His Father gave, is giving still and will forever give everything. We are given everything in abundance and forever, eternally. The child calls on Him to let all things be thought. He thought He made be nameless now, and let go of all of those illusions, all those little idols that we thought we needed. In their place, the holy name of God becomes His judgment of their worthlessness. Those things are worthless. They have no value. Anything I've separated out from the all that is has no value and is totally worthless to me now. And our final paragraph, all little things are silent. Little sounds are soundless now. The little things on earth have disappeared. The universe consists of nothing but the Son of God who calls upon His Father, and His Father's voice gives answer in His Father's holy name. In this eternal, still relationship, still, quiet, continuous relationship, I will be still a moment and go home. in which communication far transcends all words and yet exceeds in depth and height whatever words could possibly convey. Here is peace eternal. In our Father's name, we would experience this peace today, and in his name, it shall be given us. We will never be denied. We will never be denied. This is a lovely lesson, and I did skip around a little bit in it. But what we know is God's name is a complete prayer, and it heals everything that appears as something other than God, something other than what is whole and complete. God's name will heal that. So, and again, we're moving into the state of wordlessness bit by bit with each and every one of these lessons. I hope that helped. It was really, it's really a beautiful lesson, as this whole section is. We're going to be continuing in this idea of calling upon God's name tomorrow, because tomorrow's lesson is the name of God is my inheritance. We are truly coming home. We are truly learning that indeed we are the sinless, guiltless, perfect child of God. Janitism. Like, share, subscribe, taking a deep breath, smile, 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 and please be here tomorrow. Namaste.